Hi, and welcome to True Crime, a channel dedicated to the dark underworld of criminal activity carried out by gangsters, mobsters, cartel leaders, and others. Let's get started. While occasionally the media uses stories of anti-heroic goodness and brotherhood to glorify gangs, most gangs are actually quite violent and deadly. The Texas Syndicate is a prime example. Its one and only guiding concept is direct and unforgiving. Work hard for us till your final breath turns against us and you die. We'll show you the working style of the Syndicate and the lifestyles of its gang members in today's video. History. Let's start with some background information. The Texas Syndicate, often referred to as the Syndicate Tejano, was founded in the California jail system in the early 1970s. As a response to other prison gangs who targeted prisoners who were from Texas, these tough criminals became one of the most infamous gangs in California, which was already a hub for such mafias, all because of this security arrangement. What started out as a defense mechanism for the Texan prisoners quickly caught on throughout the years. It evolved from a small-time prison gang to a powerful rival. In fact, it grew to be so potent that whenever inmates were released from prisons in California and returned to Texas, they would frequently engage in violent behavior, including extortion, drug-related offenses, assaults, murder, and other serious illegal activities, only to re-enter the prison system in search of protection. Because of their power, the gang members were able to exert more influence over the whole Texas Department of Criminal Justice prison system, and the Syndicate continues to pose a serious danger to the state's Department of Criminal Justice. Not to mention the jail officers who, in the 1980s, volunteered to assist the gang members. You might claim that the whole system was complicit. There are around 3,800 Syndicate members both inside and outside of jail. The most of them are Texas-born Mexican-American guys between the ages of 20 and 40. The gang makes the notion that they don't kill innocent people, yet it is somewhat true that they hunt out traitors, especially those who turn against them. Authorities say that most attacks carried out by the group are revenge attacks against rivals or family members. The fact that this gang is unique makes it very interesting. It's not just small crimes and narcotics with unkempt teenagers drinking malt liquor and smoking marijuana on street corners. In reality, they follow a formal, extremely strict, modernized management system with a constitution and severely followed standards. Break these rules and you'll lose your head. The TS's members are obligated by a code of conduct that requires allegiance to the gang and immediate engagement in its criminal operations upon release from jail. It was the first prison gang in Texas to embrace Italian mafia-style customs, including strict regulations and harsh punishments. No member is allowed to leave before deciding that you've had enough of this lifestyle and that it's time to turn your life around. No one is allowed to escape from the group. It is permanent. The term carnal, which translates to brother, is used among people who work for the Texas Syndicate. They are frequently spotted showing off their tattooed gang symbol, which is a set of horns. The Syndicate makes sure the members get along well with one another, rows before family, religion, and country, as the saying goes. It resembles a large, happy family, but with a lot of criminality in place of the happiness. The gang has killed at least 100 people, but this is only a cautious estimate. The actual number is probably far higher. Of course, they were guilty of every crime known to man, and that is what led to their horrifying end. Let's take a look at some of the most renowned carnal brothers from the Texas Syndicate. Roy Redondo. Even still, nothing is known regarding Roy's particular time and reason of joining the Texas Syndicate, which is also true for the majority of its members because they are generally casual. It is a well-known fact that under his leadership the gang grew into one of the state's most dangerous and successful drug trafficking organizations. A criminal conspiracy involving 6 killings, including that of a member of his own gang, and the distribution of massive quantities of cocaine, methamphetamine, and marijuana in the Dallas region was allegedly carried out by the Syndicate's putative head. In his busiest years, he moved hundreds of kilograms of cocaine around Texas. At the time, 1 kilogram of cocaine was equivalent to approximately $25,000. This is why a thorough investigation focused on Redondo and resulted in the arrest of 14 members of the Texas Syndicate who, according to the prosecution, were responsible for up to a dozen killings in the Dallas region and were engaged in drug trafficking for more than 10 years. The renowned criminal and head of a cell with operations in Dallas was ultimately given a life sentence back in 2008. However, Redondo didn't seem overly concerned for a man who would spend at least the next 40 years in prison. He was moved towards a safe location. Arnold Darby. The Texas Standard interviews Arnold Darby, a 69-year-old prisoner in the Gory unit in Huntsville, about his trade as a bootmaker. He has created boots while in prison for individuals all around the state, including politicians and athletes. Arnold Darby spent years mastering the ins and outs of his profession, just like any other cobbler. The sole variation: he picked up those tricks while in prison. Darby is a killer who has been found guilty and is being held by the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. He is the most senior surviving member of the original Syndicate troops and one of the few white males ever accepted into the gang. If he is to be believed, gangsters of the current generation are stricter and more vicious, and they also willingly draw law enforcement's notice as opposed to those of the old school, who are known for keeping a low profile. Due to his age and the fact that the gang's goals were significantly different back then than they are today, Darby isn't quite as hardcore as the other members. He has participated in a number of illegal operations, most of which centered on drug trafficking, kidnappings, and robberies. We assure you that what the other members have been up to is nothing when compared to this. Mike Mendoza. The 32-year-old Baytown resident, Mike Mendoza Jr., is a member of the horrible second generation of the Texas Syndicate that Darby and others have warned us about. He is utterly violent, nasty, and remorseless, and he kills without hesitation. Mendoza is presently imprisoned for life for murder. Mike Mendoza claims, "Man, we don't hurt innocent people." At a state prison about 25 miles outside of Huntsville, Mendoza said in an in-person conversation, "We don't tolerate any of our members who do that." Numerous extortion, kidnapping, robberies, and murder cases, both approved and unapproved by the gang, have also occurred. When Mendoza stabbed a Baytown man who wasn't a Syndicate opponent, the enforcer for the Syndicate went it alone. Mendoza had been drinking, and their quarrel rapidly got out of hand. All you see in the indictment is drug dealers being looted and ex-members being slain. Regarding the federal case that caught him, Mendoza said, "Honor is given when honor is given to us." Isaac Benavidez, 26, was murdered by him in an attack that a former state prosecutor and current judge called an absolutely pointless, cold-blooded killing in which the person who died was gutted like a deer. Mendoza said that he was acting in self-defense because Benavidez was armed. Joaquin Cibrian. The 29-year-old Cibrian, who was making decent money off of his criminal operations in the early 2010s, had everything going for him. He was also swiftly rising in the ranks of the Carnal brothers, which only served to conceal his criminal history. That is, up to the point at which he became sought in relation to the murder of a little kid. The police officers attempting to execute an arrest warrant for Cibrian were injured when he opened fire the evening before he died. The La Jolla Police Department immediately contacted all available specialized teams in the valley when the two wounded officers asked for assistance. And then a 3-hour gunfight that involved at least 500 shots was what happened. After Cibrian made 2 false give-up attempts and repeatedly misled the police, he sealed himself in a house. The mobster was permanently silenced when a SWAT tank stormed the residence and fired many rounds of tear gas. According to reports, Cibrian was driven by his pals to his last location before being shot. These buddies were probably police informants. Thank you for watching another amazing video from our true crime team. Like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned to our next real-life true crime video.